Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition. Well, actually, this is the first edition of the Mega Man 46 Robots Tournament, which is part of Speedgaming Live 2023, which will be a multi-month event that will run all the way into November. This online-only tournament features 18 participants who will be testing their mettle in 6 different Mega Man games. Uh, of which will have their own unique quirks and characteristics. So there's going to be a lot of Mega Man for the next several weeks. And I'm Pro A007, very happy to be joining you here tonight. And on the mic with me is Mad Mega X 381. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going? Good to be here. I'm pretty excited to get this all started. 46 robots is a really cool category, I think. So I'm
Yeah.
definitely excited for seeing all of these runs with all these runners. It's definitely exciting.
Yeah, likewise. And for me, this is kind of neat because I think this was one of the very first things I saw on Speed Gaming, and this is going back to 2016. So it's a real treat to be able to watch this here tonight. It's kind of coming back full circle. So, and as far as the category rules, as I understand it, this is you can play this any style you wish, zipless and all of that, or glitchless. So this is any percent.
Yeah, and it looks like both of our runners are going to start here. That does not look like we're going to see zips for at least for the Elec Magnet Beam collection, which will happen a little bit later, because both runners are starting with Gutsman, so they're
Yeah.
this is a very precarious start. I think this is one of the scariest openings in the game to play straight, really. It's a lot of jumping, timed movement. It's pretty scary, so nice.
Yeah.
Both runners make it through, no problems.
Yeah, this game is not particularly forgiving with some of its platforming, and it can definitely cause some serious issues for you. So, but yeah, as far as their PBs are concerned, I asked before the start of the race, and both are over 2 hours overall. Notorious is in the high 207 range. ZG confirmed he's about 225 as of recently. So a lot of room for improvement, because I know you can get about 135, 140 in this category if you're like a really top level player. So we could see a PB or two here tonight. We could see a PB or two here tonight.
This is, there's a bunch of different ways that you can attack this, and honestly, one of the coolest things about 46 is that because it's 6 different games, you'll get players that are more familiar with one game versus another. So, I know a lot of runners tend to have like 1 or 2 games that they more focus on. I know Nate, for example, is a Mega Man 4 runner, does a lot of Mega Man 4 plays. So,
yeah, and ZG said he was a Mega Man 3 runner, so we could see some interesting swings in the middle of this race, and they did a pretty good job with Gutsman, as you say. That's a precarious opening, and both got through it pretty cleanly.
absolutely. And so now we go to Cutman, and really the first 2 stages in this route, when you start with Gutsman, there's not a lot of super. You don't really use any of the weapons or anything until the very end of Cutman stage. So there's it mostly just trying to be tight with your platforming and trying to walk to edges and jump as small as you can, trying to save the little frames here and there is the best you can really do through these first few stages.
And Notorious picks up an extra life, and not necessarily needed, not unwelcome, because some of these stages are not particularly forgiving with their platforming, particularly stages like Iceman and Fireman, where one wrong step and that's a life.
Oh, and certainly the use here of the pause glitch, which this is the only Mega Man game with a pause, at least on the NES during this run, and you can pause when you take damage, and doing so in unpausing will basically cancel your injury, your hit animation, and you can get back to moving. So we use that to skip through things, but that also means that we're trading health for speed. So you can put yourself in dangerous health situations too. So this game can be very, very dangerous all over the place.
Yeah, and the health drops are not quite as plentiful as they would become in future games. You see Notorious, taking a pit stop there to get some more health. Even though Cutman is a fairly easy boss, I mean, but don't want to take chances.
Yeah, it's not so much Cutman that you're worried about. It's that big guy right there that both of our runners were introduced to at very close proximity. He can I think he does 10 damage, and so that big guy, if you're a little low, takes you right out.
Yeah, and ZG actually got a nice pickup there on his way to Cutman. So again, pretty nice bit of RNG there, and ZG no problem using the pause glitch, and so does Notorious. So 2 for 2 right off the bat. So very nice to see.
Yeah, really very, very little space between both of our runners right now, maybe about 5 seconds. So
if that, yeah, it's been very nice to see. And now this is where we could really see a bit of a swing, and that's no slight to either runner. This is definitely a stage where you really have to be on point with your platforming, because otherwise the stage turns into a nightmare.
Oh, 100%. Electman stage is incredibly precarious. It's an incredibly vertical stage. You spend a lot of time climbing ladders, and Mega Man does not climb ladders very quickly in this game. So
no,
you're really trying to minimize the amount of time that you're not, like, you're trying to take advantage of jumping like this on this that ZG right there does on that little platform. Like, the verticality makes it for a precarious stage, because every screen transition is so much time.
We got introduced to another favorite, the Yoku blocks, and they play a role in all Mega Man games, but it's a fairly, I think, outsized one in MM1.
Oh, absolutely, especially for this Electman stage here, and then depending upon how Iceman stage goes, we can see quite a bit of Yoku block shenanigans.
Yeah, so we got it's been back and forth. Notorious is maybe a second and a half ahead right now, and so we love the sync early, and I'm sure both of them are going to go for this item here. Oh yeah. Because well, you don't need it to finish the six robot masters here. You do need it in the Wily stages, which we will not be playing here. It's going to make this a lot faster.
Yeah, it's just a item that is simply too useful to skip. It really is. You can use it all over the place, but what it does is it gives you the ability to create platforms basically anywhere, and our runners are going to use that here, for example, and completely skip this very dangerous platforming section. You just go right over it. The value is immense in a game like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was sort of the prototype for what would become like Rush Jet and other like items. And Notorious avoided our friend there. ZG unfortunately got hit, so. Again, Electman's not terribly difficult, but, gotta be careful.
Yeah, and here is what I think is one of the this is probably the most dangerous boss approach room in all of Mega Man. It's so tight to climb up. I remember falling a lot here as a kid, getting tagged by those laser beams.
It's definitely a room that I do not look forward to. So Notorious closes it out at about 7:52, and ZG about 4 seconds back. So halfway through Mega Man 1 here, and solid play from both runners.
Yeah, I would say really nice Electman fights. That's a scary fight no matter what. He deals a lot of damage, and even though he only takes 3 cut beams. It's still scary. So runners handled that very well.
Yeah, this might be the last really I mean, Fireman and Bomb Man aren't exactly cakewalks, but this is where you know, again, we could see a bit of a divergence in the lead if one of them just has a hiccup, particularly in the back half of the stage, because that platforming, even with the magnet beam is gonna be scary.
Absolutely, and it looks like we're getting to see a little more Yoku block here. Nate navigating, he's doing a sort of hybrid climb there with the Yoku blocks and the magnet beam together. Worked out pretty well. ZG doing the same thing, and now this section with these moving platforms that shoot. The biggest reason why we want the magnet beam for these is that sometimes the platforms just disappear on you, and you can jump into them and you'll just fall through. So we just want to avoid that if we can, and so both runners have done that excellently, and they don't have to deal with any of that silly nonsense.
So very clean opener, and so they got to Iceman, so very nice, and so now they'll take on Iceman again. They're going to be using the pause buffer here to make short work of Iceman, who can be a pretty nasty fight if you don't do the. If you do this like it with Buster only, this is not a fun fight.
Nate smartly waiting underneath the ice beam, not taking damage, just walking forward.
ZG went for it, so he clears out of the room at 10:16. ZG is going to clear out about 10, so 4 seconds difference through 4. So now we're on to the Fireman, and again, while not as scary per se as the last 2 stages, definitely some platforming fun with the fire.
Absolutely. We see both runners utilizing some zipless strats of using a luck actually that causes the momentary lag to eliminate more lag later by taking out those spinning shooting enemies. I actually forget their name, but then switching to magnet beam, and again it just makes all the platforming so much simpler. You can go anywhere and do anything when you have the magnet beam.
Yeah. And so Notorious is going to take the top route there. I get a refill on his magnet beam. ZG does the same.
And ZG showing off something that's kind of neat there, where when you're walking on when Mega Man is on the magnet beam, the game is still basically calculating his fall speed. So what happens is that as soon as you walk off of the magnet beam, you will fall at maximum fall speed. So it's something that you can use instead of trying to jump off of it. You just walk off of it, and you'll basically fall at maximum speed immediately. So ZG did that on your other screen to fall.
Yeah, terminal velocity there, and so they still got some magnet beams to play with as we reach the final room here of Fireman, and both players doing a very nice job holding the line. Notorious's health is a little low. ZG is about 2/3 health, so we'll see if that makes a difference here.
Let's see if how they both approach this fight, because you can do this with nothing but pauses, or you can do a hybrid where you pause and move towards him. Looks like Nate's opting to pause through, and it's nice and clean.
Yeah.
ZG opting for 2.
Yeah, and so it was a little slower and lost a couple of seconds overall, and otherwise they were pretty much point for point throughout. So we're down to our last Mega Man 1 Robot Master already.
This is Bomb Man with one of the. I guess this is one of the longer stages in the game, especially zipless. The any percent, or I guess all stages route utilizes a zip that skips a large section of the game at the end of the stage at the end. But we'll get to see all of it. I hope in this one.
Yeah. it definitely is the longest of the 6 overall.
I see some more ice usage here, which doesn't kill enemies, it just stops them in their tracks and they stop moving. We'll see this used here, hopefully to some level of comedic effect for it to freeze a Joe in midair somehow.
Oh, we just saw it, so...
Just, they can fly for a moment.
Yep. We are all about the memes here at Speedgaming, so we hope you enjoy that.
So this is an especially scary room, I think. Any room with spikes in Mega Man 1 is scary, because the spikes in this game, in all the other Mega Man games, if you take damage, the spikes won't insta-kill you. In Mega Man 1, if you fall into the spikes, even if you are in iframes, it'll insta-kill you. So spikes are even more dangerous than usual in Mega Man 1. But both of our runners didn't seem to be troubled by them at all.
No, it went fine, and Notorious is the first to final Robot Master. Again, playing with kind of low health, but this should be okay against Bomb Man. Bomb Man being pretty aggressive early, and got him. So that's it. So 15 minutes on the nose for Notorious.
That's a pretty good time through 6 Robos for Mega Man 1, I think. So, and ZG, they were what, about 15, I think that was? 15?
Roughly, yeah. So our runners do have a 20-second pause between games to keep it fair. So, yeah. So, alright, so we're on to Mega Man 2. Both players appear to be opting for the North American version.
Yeah, so there's some version differences. Mega Man released in North America has a normal and a difficult mode. Difficult mode is the only version available on the Japanese release Rockman 2. But the text is slower, but enemies take double damage effectively. So time-wise, it's kind of a toss-up as to which one is faster. And it's really more about runner preference. So both are opting for the North American normal run.
Yeah, it's certainly safer overall. The one downside to the North American version is scrolling text, particularly for three of the post fights, is much longer than it is in Japanese. So that's where things kind of go back in the other direction. But I don't think there'll be too much route divergence between our runners here. Ooh, ZG tried to get around. Unfortunately, missed his jumps, so he's going to lose a few seconds there. As Notorious had no trouble with Flashman, who's a pretty easy boss. And on top of everything else, that's a good reason why to start with Flashman, because he is probably the easiest of the 8 Robot Masters here in MM2. Ooh, oh, and
So ZG takes an unfortunate death there to Flashman. That's especially punishing in or can be punishing in Mega Man 2 because depending upon if any zips are attempted, that can cost lives. But even then, it's at least it was a boss fight. Those are generally a place where if you're going to take a death, a boss fight's a relatively low punishment location for it. So that's not of the places you can die. That's certainly not a bad one to take an unfortunate fall.
Right. Yeah. And yeah. But not. I think if you're gonna take your first death, like, man, it was Flashman. But such as it is, as we head to Airman.
Don't forget, I think he did bump into that one Joe that was riding that has the leg, the Mecha Joes, which are Those do significant damage.
They do, yeah. That was unfortunate. I had the mistimed jump. They kind of had to reset all of the settings there, and all right. So Natori's using that little pause buffer strat to give himself a little bit of extra range on that jump.
Yeah, that's actually a good thing to mention. That's a trick that we have in Mega Man 2, as we see ZG take a fall here again in the early section here of Airman.
Yeah, now I think he burned through all of his Flashman ammo, so now he's got oh! Yeah, that's a game over for ZG, so, okay, again, you're gonna do this, so be it, but, now get a refill on his ammo at least, so...
Now, I was just going to say, honestly, if you're going to take another death, like take it there, get your ammunition back, get back to doing the stage the way you planned to do it the first way. That this whole section is difficult, and you're utilizing a trick in the game, like you mentioned, that when you pause this game, Mega Man's fall speed resets. It allows us to traverse some jumps we should probably die in, as we see Nate polish off Airman pretty quickly.
Yeah. None of the 8 Robot Masters, I think, are especially difficult in this game overall.
Not if you have their weakness.
Certainly, yeah. I mean,
some
a
of them
couple
are
of them
kind of tough, Buster only, but in all of them can put you in danger, though, for sure.
But I'd say Metal Man Buster only is not a lot of fun. Crash Man's not a lot of fun, but in general, they are somewhat manageable. And Buster strats can get you out of some sticky situations. Okay, ZG is on his way to the back half of the stage, and Notorious is going to Quickman next. We'll see if he does any zips or utilizes Time Stopper here to at any point.
Yeah, so far Nate has finished Flash and Air, right? So now he sees. So if he's heading here, I have to assume that it's to get Quick Boomerang and.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the routing, so.
Yeah, I think Papadot's right. Yeah, this is zipless routes. So if this were any percentage of done, Heatman actually second. So I think ZG's
you can. Yeah, you can do Heatman second or third. There's different routes that, depending upon whether you're trying to do fast air or not, because you can do different routing there, but
yeah.
I'm not as familiar with the true zipless route.
Yeah, there is a little bit of flex with zipless, because I've done I've done Heatman 6th actually.
Yeah, that's right. Papat mentions you that in the zips route, if you do air second, you have item 2 that traverses a long section in Heatman that saves some time, but it's a trade-off. So
yeah, so good RNG there early against Quickman, and Quickman just kind of running himself into the corner there, and so a pretty quick fight. But we got about a 1-stage difference now between Notorious and ZG. ZG having a rough go of it early on here in MM2, and Notorious has built himself a nice little lead over his opponent, and this is a single elimination tournament, so this I said we said earlier, this is a fun category because you get to play 6 different games, and you really get kind of a nice look at sort of NES history. Going all the way from the early days to really the twilight of the system's run, when the Super Nintendo was the preeminent power at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Mega Man 6 has kind of a weird bit of history to it. It was one of the last games released in North America for the console at all, and in fact was
Yeah.
published by Nintendo of America and not Capcom. Capcom
Hmm.
wanted to use their limited number of slots on Super Nintendo games.
Yeah, because in 1994, I know they released MMX2, so you know, they were busy. They were busy with that. So we got this. We got. Oh, and Notorious trying to go top shelf there on that final section, and unfortunately takes a dip into the pit.
These are dangerous areas here for sure. You can get caught by these little dancing fellows on the gears.
Mhm.
Those are definitely not fun to deal with.
So yeah, he's not going to continue with this, and it's just going to play this regular with the quick boomerang from here on out. So lost a little bit of time. He only lost maybe about 15 seconds. So he is still in okay shape here as ZG just starts Metal Man.
All right, so we'll see how Nate approaches him. If you hold B and don't pass the center, Metal Man will just kind of stand there and run in place on his treadmill, and you can just whack him with boomerangs until he dies.
Which is exactly what he did, and it worked perfectly. So ZG had a little bit of an easier time going through that section than Notorious. Notorious got hit a few more times, I think.
Yeah, so that's definitely an opportunity for ZG to make up a little bit of the deficit here. But again, one of the great things about this category is it was 6 games, in different specialities of the runners. You get comebacks are definitely possible and even likely because there's just so much that can happen and go on. So, they're really not that far apart yet. So it's still really a very competitive race. I think they're not even a stage apart.
Yeah, and they haven't even gotten to their specialties yet, as we mentioned earlier. ZG says his specialty is MM3, Notorious is MM4. So I think the picture will be much clearer after MM4. So that will be interesting to see. And now we're on to Bubble Man. ZG just underway here against Metal Man. Oh no, he's got to be really careful. He crossed the Rubicon, but gets some good jumps there and finishes off Metal Man.
That was scary there for a second, but he really found a rhythm at the end and just right through.
Yeah, and Metal Man kind of just jumped right in, played right into the jump. So it was very fortunate for ZG there, and Notorious.
Of our good old bitrate waterfall that makes it very, very difficult to see.
Yeah,
very tough on your computers and coders.
Yeah, it doesn't look great.
Yeah, do not adjust your television set.
Yeah. So ZG having a much better start there than Notorious did. Notorious just finished off Bubble Man. So again, a nice little time saver there.
Yeah, it was.
Ooh, just slipped past. So he bounced back nicely after that really kind of rough start with Flashman, and then the opener with Airman. So he's getting some of that time back, but we'll need some help a little bit right now as we head to Heatman. This is a stage certainly where with the platforming in the back half of this stage, a mistake can be very costly.
Certainly, and hopefully we'll see both of in Heatman stage we'll see some item 2 usage to cut through some of these Yoku blocks. But I always think that honestly I think this zipless route, this Heatman stage, I think is one of the coolest stages in this route. It is. I think it's really neat the way that you kind of traverse this screen, especially without because in any percent route you zip through this whole screen, and this is a difficult screen to get through. So
yeah, and Notorious is kind of just playing it. Well, he's not getting a lot of help with the RNG, but he does the glit. He does that pretty cleanly.
Hey, he managed to get through. The cans were not helpful there. They were right at him, right at his neck.
Yeah, they were coming. Yeah, so Notorious should have enough ammo to clear this chasm.
Ooh.
I think he saw. I was like, okay, better take the jump, and he did. So no problem. BG underway here against Heatman at a clean ending. Almost got hurt by a last-second item drop there at the end of Bubble Man's stage, but was able to avoid catastrophe.
And we see the power of the bubble lead here against Heatman. 3 shots and away he goes.
Yeah, and you know, with any percent, this is usually second, and it becomes like a big jumping game with Heatman because of it's a 30, 60, 90 second frame. Transition on when he's going to move, and you just got to be ready for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can do the Heatman dance, or you can give yourself enough space that if he does move in 30 seconds or in 30 frames, you can jump over him.
Nice transition, nice adjustment there by ZG. I saw the cans coming closing in, and he kind of just did like a little swivel jump there at the end to avoid getting hit. So that worked out pretty well for him.
Yeah, it was a really nice little jump to the side and kind of just jump around the enemy. Really nice.
So we got hit twice there, so should be okay. But and Bubble Man ammo doesn't really cost for anything, so it should be all right. But
we'll see how Nate will elect to tackle some of these dogs that we'll see in the next few screens. Looks like he's going to charge up the heat weapon and just one-shot them. Or flash through, take out the first one and then flash through the remaining 2 of these. There should be one there and in this screen, but they won't spawn with the time stopper, and there you go.
That's certainly been my strat in Zipless is, I'll take out the first one and then with metal or heat. Okay, Notorious is not going to do the skip here. He's just going to play this stage normally.
Yep, looks like utilizing some of item 2 to get some quick movement across some of these screens. Item 2 moves faster than you walk, so if you can maximize the time that you're spending on item 2, that's a pretty good way to save time, Zipless.
And he's trying to do that little carrot going across the chasm there. Unfortunately, same problem he had in Metal Man, just couldn't quite get it to go, and so yeah, he lost a few seconds there, but he'll have enough heat item 2 to clear this last section.
And he doesn't even have to worry about dealing with these. Oh, we get a ground rooster.
Oh, always nice to see.
Always welcome.
So yeah, a fully charged heat shot on normal will be a one-hit kill.
Yep. So
yeah, you can always tell by the pitch. That's when you know it's like, okay, fire.
And that was the last thing Woodman ever heard.
Yep. So he clears out at 32:52. So this is looking like he's going to be about a 19-20 minute MM2 section. The top runners will do this usually in about 16, 17 minutes. So, but
Yeah,
you know, they had the death, so.
Yeah, and admittedly, that's an any percent time. I'm not sure that that the zipless routes are they quite that fast?
17:30, I
Yeah.
think, would be a really good time. And yeah, there are some significant skips here. You know, this section here, you have to play this in zipless. On any percent, you don't. But you know, it's not too bad.
Yeah, there's time savings, but it's not infinite.
No. So a nice one-hit kill there. So I said 32-52 for Nate. Clearing out. ZG is gonna be just a hair over 34. 34:03. So 71 seconds right now between our runners. And all of that is largely attributed to ZG's rough start in MM2.
Yeah, and now we're just about finished with Mega Man 2 though, and I would say honestly, I think ZG's been you know, chipping away at Nate's lead throughout most of the back half of Mega Man 2. I think he's been pretty clean with a lot of his movement. You know, I think Nate's had a couple of bad screen transitions, things that have caught him, unfortunately. I know Mega Man 2 will do this to me, where you'll jump and it'll...
Yeah. ZG's having a little trouble here early on in Crashman stage. Yeah, he's having a hard time with some of these movements. So he's playing it he's just playing the safe now, which is fine. You know, this is the last one you have to deal with, and then it's on to MM3, which is his specialty, as you said. So, so this is a chance for him to really do some damage. We'll see how Notorious does in MM3. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he's a fine player in it, but you know, yeah. Crash's stage is the elect man of MM2, and I think that was 35-28. Let's say for Nate.
Yeah, I'd say that Crashman stage again is another one where, like Electman, it's a lot of verticality, so it's just a really difficult stage to do quickly because Mega Man just climbs slowly. You know, it's.
So Notorious is leading off with Magnet Man, and the top runners you'll see do Top Man first. Magnet is actually now 6th in the batting order with the top players, but Magnet is also a safer starting point than Top.
Yeah, and in fact, in Mega Man 3, the time savings between Top and Magnet are only it's only a handful of seconds really, but the bigger difference is that it's Magnet's run is a lot more volatile to start because you need a good pattern for Magnet Man. So Top Man's more reliable.
It's more volatile, but you know, certainly with his fight, 36-40 for ZG. It's more volatile because Magnet Man is definitely a volatile boss with his RNG, but it also makes Shadow Man stage much safer.
Absolutely, and I think that the overall the strats for learning Magnet first are probably a little easier to start out with than Top because as you said, Shadow Man especially can be difficult with trying to utilize Top through that area, but
right, and
we should see it from ZG. It looks like. Yeah,
and it also Mega Man 3 is the most mash heavy, as Chad pointed out, of the 6 games, and Top really emphasizes. They all kind of do, but Top really puts a fine point on that, I think.
Oh, absolutely. If you play Top first a while, your mash will improve. You won't have a choice. It'll get better.
I've been playing MM3 for 30 years. My mash still isn't very good. You know. It's a cross I have to bear. So, you know, some Notorious not getting a lot of help early on. Okay, there's a jump. You got to jump first off, and there's another jump. Now, one characteristic about Mega Man 3 compared to the others is you want to finish at the center of the screen whenever possible.
Yeah, in Mega Man 3, when you defeat a boss, you completely lose control of Mega Man. He just stops doing whatever he's doing. So the closer you are to the center, the less time he spends walking to the center when he gets his energy transfer and teleport animation.
So Natorius is going Hardman second. This is not what you normally see. So Nate's going his own way. I mean, he's got.
Oh no, this is
right
standard for Magnet first.
Really? I've
Yeah,
always done
hard.
top. I've always. I'm a Magnet first. I always do top second.
Yeah, with we go here because Top Man or Hard Man's weakness is being Magnet, so
Sure.
he's following weakness order.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. So I'm the limited experience I have with MM3 as a Magnet is I always went top second, but well, you learned something new today.
Yeah, because hard will be Top Man's weakness, so he should be at third on the list, I think. But we'll see what the routing is for each of the because ZG started with top spin. He's collected top spin, so
right.
We'll see what his next step is, Shadow Man, and this is a very, very scary stage.
Yeah, yeah,
especially on this route.
Yeah, the final screen is the scary part. With Natorious's route, Shadow is still not exactly a cakewalk, but no, the magnet missile makes it a lot safer. So we got both runners taking on Breakman, and Natorius' second fight with him. Have to fight Breakman 3 times in the 8 Robo Masters, Hardman, Top Magnet, and Shadow. So. Oh boy, he's out of ammo. So now he's got to play this normal. And unfortunately, as you'd expect, only 1 damage for every hit. So, but does get through. So ZG has a chance to get up, get a little closer here. Okay, so he's gonna play this. He's playing this pretty conservative. You'll see runners doing like slide. Jump spins here to clear this area, but it's very dangerous.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the way that top spin works is when you jump into an enemy like that, what can happen is that it'll kind of bump you backwards a few pixels, and that could be the difference between making one of those jumps and not making it and falling into the pit. So, ZG taking deciding discretion is the better part of valor and making sure to get across.
For sure, especially in a race setting, like don't. It's one of those things where, you do, I think, hold back a little bit, especially if you're just not, unless you can instinctively do it, you really don't want to be taking any chances here. So there were a couple of features added to Mega Man 3 compared to 2, and I think certainly the one that's exploited the most here is the slide, which has become a staple of Mega Man since. Well, except for Mega Man 9, they took it away for some reason.
But they gave back to us in 11, so it's not all.
No, I know why they did it, and they were trying to recreate Mega Man 2 there, but it was a little jarring. It's like, wait a minute, you took it away. So. ZG and Gemini Man, and there aren't a lot of skips here, but this one or glitches, but this has probably the big one, which is ZG's gonna slide and avoid Breakman altogether, and by doing so, he's going to kill the music for this game, for this stage, and he does. So, this kills the music, which significantly reduces the lag, and as any Mega Man 3 fan will tell you, we love the game, but man, is there a lot of lag in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be an a very, very laggy game, and a lot of the high level strats are actually focused on as much lag reduction as you can kind of get.
Yeah.
And so that's a strat actually where Proto Man shows up and he just stands there for a few seconds. But that plug isn't really there, so you jump through it. The game doesn't know what to do, and it just finishes out his song and stops.
Yeah, and as I understand it, the graphics and the sound card are on the same chip in this game. That's partly why there is so much lag, and that's why when the music gets flipped off in here, it does save a fairly significant amount of time.
Yeah, absolutely. We see ZG opting for Shadow here on for this section, so he's going to be jumping and sliding across a lot of these blocks here. This is a really dangerous bit here. That's not a platform or anything at the bottom. It's just watery grave. ZG, very scary.
ZG's definitely playing it very tight, and he does pick up the E-Tank, which is, I think, a good move there, just because you never can tell. Yeah, there still remains about a 1-stage difference between our runners right now. This is Natorious's 4th. ZG's on number 3 right now. So Natorius is holding serve at this point. We'll see if the difference continues as we head to Mega Man 4, which is Natorius' specialty. So this you'll see here if you wanted to see the if you don't know the difference. This is the difference between Magnet and Top First. Is this room here is basically, okay,
Ooh,
well,
scary.
Yeah, that's that. You still got to watch out for that, but
yeah, the drops can still be what take you out in a lot of these strats where you're sliding and jumping and making it across pits. That's very like timing and rhythm based. Those drops break your rhythm and often drop you into a pit.
So Natorius had no trouble with Shadow Man. I think he actually did that a little better than ZG. ZG was kind of playing it tight there. ZG actually used Gemini Laser to clear that opening room and switch back to Buster. Some runners will actually switch to Magnet Missile here and just run through this area with that.
Yeah, it's really a preference. It's one input on the D-pad either way. It's really a question of the runner's preference. It's one of the best things about Mega Man 3. Really, is it has a really great menu. I think you can basically get to everywhere in like only 3 or 4 inputs. It's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and ZG has not done Magnet Man. I believe that will be after this one. So yeah, the one key with Needle Man and Gemini Laser is you cannot miss because you cannot fire again until that laser has either hit an enemy or has gone off screen, and when it caroms off the walls, it can take a long time. Oh, he turned the wrong way. Is he gonna get the bank shot?
Oh.
He does. And Natorius no proto skip for Natorius.
Nadua laser for ZG, but kind of works out with the recoil on the other side.
Yeah, it was a good bank. It was a great bank shot. Natorius unfortunately does not get the proto skips, so he gets all the lag, but it's a great song. It's my favorite in the game actually, so it's not all bad.
Now it looks like he's gonna use Rush Jet here.
So ZG is now on to Snake Man as number 6.
So I'm sorry. I really think so. Nate here is actually utilizing a menu glitch because he doesn't actually have Rush Jet yet, but you can select Rush Jet if you have Shadow and you push right to select it. And so what he's doing is he's basically doing this section on his feet with the added bonus of having Rush Jet underneath him the whole time. That if he should fall, it should catch him. This is really a cool idea. I have not seen this. I love it. I think it's so cool.
I haven't seen it either, and but no, that is a nice safety valve, and Natorius is going to go against head-to-head with Gemini Man and the Shadow Blade, which is his secondary weakness, and every Robot Master has one. And if you go top first, this, makes it a pretty straightforward fight. Like, normally it's supposed to be Surge Snake.
Yeah, but luckily the Shadow will do 2 damage, and because there are 2 of them on screen, theoretically you can deal 4 damage at about the same time. It's a little slower if you can't maximize your damage output like that, but you can still take him up pretty quick.
Yeah, and ZG's also using another little neat exploit with Rush Jet, where if you're jumping, just jumping kind of off stage, you won't be burning Rush Jet energy, so that's a nice boost.
Yeah, in fact, Nate was taking advantage of that in Gemini's stage with Rush Jet, because while he was on the blocks, it wasn't using energy either. So Rush Jet in Mega Man 3 is a little OP, honestly. It can do a lot.
So I think ZG is now in the lead. I think that's 6 for him. Nator is just starting number 6 with Gemini with Needleman. So yeah, I think ZG is now in control of the board here.
Yeah, I think it's pretty close to if not even, ZG looks like he's going to be creeping ahead here if he isn't already. So it's a little harder to tell when they're running different routes like this, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll know by the time of Sparkman, honestly, at this point. Oh, I forgot Hardman. Duh.
Yeah, and I would also say Mega Man 3 has. I don't think it has the most, but it has a lot of variance between how long certain stages are. Like Needleman is a really short stage, and Gemini can be almost like I'd say like 50% is long on top of. It's like 150% the length of Needleman.
Yeah.
So there's huge variance.
Yeah, I totally forgot about Hardman, so my apologies there. So, yeah, it is getting close, though. ZG has definitely made, but, Natorius gets some time back with a perfect fight against Needleman, and ZG's going to use Rush Jet to clear the Yoku block room.
Yeah, whereas Nate had to wait for the Yoku blocks and time all those in the very first stage of the run, ZG just gets to hop on top of Rush and ignore all of that silliness entirely.
Well, it's got to be one of the easiest Yoku block rooms, I think. So it's it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, it's not much of a bonus, I guess. That's true.
Yeah. But now ZG will should have a clean, a much faster Magnet Man fight, or he would have if he had more than half health, and he just missed two cycles right off the bat. So, oof. Oh man, his shots are just having a terrible start there. Finally finishes them off, but man, that was 15 seconds more than it should have been.
Yeah, that was definitely a tough. Magnet was not willing to cooperate whatsoever. Definitely gave him a little bit of trouble. And while that was happening, it looked like Nate was having some of his own troubles with Rush Jet in Snake Man stage there. So
yeah. This is again a very vertical stage, so yeah, it's definitely not a lot of fun. As ZG's now on his way to Hardman, his seventh. And, will be exploiting Shadow Blade here. And,
utilizing my favorite strat of the bees, which is to just say, not the bees. And once they appear on screen, slide away. And once they're despawned, they don't come back. You don't ever have to see them again. So that's a great way to save ammo and not deal with them.
Yeah, you know, ZG having a little trouble early on with that Joe there. Finally gets around him as now he's went up. And Notorious is almost to the end of Snake Man.
Yep, it should be switching to Needle, which is Snake's weakness here, and see what kind of fight Nate can gather here while ZG makes his way through Hardman stage.
He's about halfway through right now, and Notorious. Luckily not a huge thing, but yeah, he was out of position there.
Yeah, for some reason, I know that this happens to me regularly, is that, especially in this fight, because of the lag, you'll try to turn, and you won't, and you'll try to turn and shoot, and you'll just not turn, but you'll still shoot, and it can be punishing.
Yeah, the game's like, but I want to go one way. Like, no, you're not going that way. I tell you which way to go.
And so this should be Nate's last stage. This is Sparkman, which has some dangerous platforming depending upon how fast you want to go and how comfortable you are with tight slides and things like that. Yeah.
Okay, so cleaner fight for ZG against Hardman. So he has closed the distance. I'd say he's probably about 25-30 seconds back, give or take, maybe a little bit more. Yet he has improved on his standing.
And so I think this will be his. Yeah, he's on to Sparkman. So it's about a half a stage now. He's shrunk the deficit that he was dealing with earlier. So he's made up some time, and I don't think Nate's made any really major errors, right? So this has mostly just been run down through really just clean play and being consistent and hitting his mark. So it's a good sign. We'll see what happens in Mega Man 4, which I think Nate is a little more comfortable with than Mega Man 3. So
yeah, he's closing in at about a 21-minute Mega Man 3, which is not bad. I mean, ZG is going to have about the same time. Top runners will get about, I think, 17-18 minutes. So. But closes it out at 56:22. So, 20:54.
So we get to start the back half of, well, not technically the back half just yet, actually. We'll get one more boss and we'll be halfway through.
Yeah. Okay, we're 22 down as we head to MM4, and MM4's biggest innovation, of course, is the Mega Buster, which is a charge shot. So we'll be seeing a lot of that for the next 45 minutes or 45 minutes to an hour or so.
Yeah, this is definitely this is one of my favorites. I love Mega Man 4. It's such a cool game. It does a lot of cool things. You still get the slide. As ZG finishes, looks like about 57, 20, I want to say 22, 24 in that neighborhood look like.
Yeah, he's 1 minute back, so he only gained about 12 seconds. I'm a little surprised. I thought it was going to be more than that, but based on my splits, yeah. You know, I think everybody has that one Mega Man game that they're kind of whatever about, and everyone else seems to love. And for me, 4 is that game. Interestingly, it just doesn't do a lot for the Robot Master lineup. I think is what kind of doesn't really do it for me. It's like it's not as an interesting a bunch as some of the other games. I feel like. it's not a bad game by any stretch, but it's one that I'm kind of. And the soundtrack is, I think, they've definitely done better.
Ah, I see. See, I was gonna say I think that this has some of the best song. I mean, Skullman's an absolute banger, but I mean that's again this is this is that's I think the coolest thing about this particular route, because I think the full 6-game route is really it's actually tough. It's a really difficult run, but 46 Robots is a lot more approachable. You can actually play it, and it's fun, and you still get all the different games. You can have that fight.
Yeah.
Which game do you like best, or which one just drives you crazy, grinds your gears?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. There's 4 has always been kind of that thing for me. Notorious takes on Bright Man.
Yeah, so this fight's really cool. The way that we fight Brightman is we hit him with the charged Mega Buster, which does 3 damage, and then we do that twice, and then we'll hit him with 1 regular lemon for 7 total damage. And when we do that, it will prevent him from hitting health at 16, 8, and 4, which when Brightman has those healths, he will stop time. So we don't let him do that by the proper application of Charge Buster and Lemon. And Notorious made it through there quite cleanly.
And ZG had to kind of stop there, just didn't want to get hit while jumping, so he slammed the brakes there a bit, as now he's getting ready to take on Brightman. Notorious heading to Pharaoh Man. So... now, as I understand it, there really isn't a route divergence, but the starter in MM4 can vary. It's Bright or it's Pharaoh, correct?
Yeah, so the difference between the 2 routes really is whether or not you get to fight Brightman with Pharaoh or not, because the real key for these first 2 stages is to... I see ZG having some trouble here. He's...
Yeah, he triggered it.
Yeah, that looked like it was one of the a situation where he didn't get a full charge, and so his damage got out of order.
Yeah,
which can definitely happen.
Yeah. So Chad answered it. So yeah, in this 46 robot category, you're only playing the Robot Masters in the 6 NES games. You don't have to play anything else. Okay, I don't think ZG knows the strat, or if he does, he's not utilizing it. Just gonna fight this normally.
It looks like he's having a handful of his charges are not. He's releasing the charges earlier, and he's unfortunately getting caught. So.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things in Mega Man 4 is that all of the enemies, I think save for 1, do 8 damage on contact. I think Pharaoh Man does 6, but all of the Robot Masters do 8 damage, which is a significant chunk of Mega Man's health.
Yeah. We've done this category's been was done in this tournament was done in 2016. We also, I remember, because I was part of the comm team for that, in 2018 there was a 24 Mavericks tournament, which was a nice variation on that, spin on that category as well. Same idea.
As Nate finishes up on Pharaoh Man, and we see ZG. So what he's doing here is he's sliding with the bright weapon, and so when you use Time Stopper, it triggers a few seconds of time where time doesn't, no enemies move or anything like that. But if you're sliding, that timer doesn't count down. So the better you can chain your slides, you can effectively have near infinite Time Stopper if you can chain your slides together very, very well.
Yeah, he's going for the item here in Pharaoh. Notorious skipped it.
No, Notorious picked it up. He's using it right here. This is the.
He did. I missed that, so I wasn't really. Must have been watching something else at the time, but so Notorious underway here in Ringman stage. This stage can be really aggravating.
Definitely a Widowmaker in terms of this run. I think this is one of the stages where it should be pretty likely to see people running into trouble. You do a lot of deboosting. There's a lot of tight sort of movement here. There's a lot of pits that you could fall in, a lot of places where you could get trapped by enemies. Like for example, here this ring enemy can do a lot of damage if you time it wrong. So damage and ammo intensive is a really good way to describe it. Thanks, Creed.
Yeah, and you know, the way thought I saw it. Maybe you had said it, but yeah, the it definitely puts a lot of different skills to the test here. Oh.
Oof. Very, very scary.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. The health pickup that Natorius did a pit stop for. That was a good idea on his part, just to make absolutely sure nothing goes wrong.
So we're getting to Ringman. We'll see how this fight goes. But one of the cool things about the Pharaoh weapon is that we can charge it. So we see the ball above Nate's head here, and so he's going to throw that, and you can charge it. And if it's charged above your head and you run into an enemy with it, you still can throw it at full charge. So we try to utilize that and take advantage of that to make quick work of Ringman, which Nate does without breaking a sweat, really.
Yeah, and so we got about a one-stage difference now between our runners. We get ready for the halfway point, and we are over the halfway point overall. That was 25 for Natorius, and CG having a little trouble early here in Ringman's stage.
And so after Ringman, this is going to follow boss weakness order. And so Dust is weak to Ring, so we'll go through Dustman's stage here, and we'll see the routing that Nate elects to use. He's going to use Bright, the time stopper again, and basically or flash stopper, and just go through these screens and not really deal with a lot of the enemies as everything's just frozen in place.
Yeah.
Which does not make this section with these spikes and these moving platforms any less scary. This is a terrifying room, but whether you're using Flash Stopper or any other weapon, this is a scary room and very easy to get trapped or die by accident. So Nate gets through there nice and clean, so that's good.
CG does not go for the health pickup like Natorius did. And this room is a favorite of many. Through
the crusher and through the ring. Well, just a lot happening side by side right now.
Yeah, ZG, apparently not quite as comfortable with the strats, is doing this normally, and taking on the Hippo with Buster.
And taking advantage of the flash stopper here again as Nate gets to Dustman. Gonna hope for jumps and for Dustman to throw, because when Dust sucks, he's invulnerable. We see Nate actually shoot the ring and then walk into Dustman, ending the dust sucking, and then immediately taking damage from the ring as it comes back to Mega Man, because it acts as a boomerang. So that's a pretty effective and efficient way to do that fight.
Yeah, ZG unfortunately took a death there. Went into the pit, and so he's going to have to do this. Luckily, it was not at a terrible spot, so we only lost about 15 seconds.
Yeah, as far as deaths go, that's pretty close to the checkpoint, so it's not too bad of a location. Nate's coming up here on the only zip we're going to see in Mega Man 4 here. Or maybe not. Nope. Yeah, he didn't get it, so he's just going to skip by it. That's all right.
Yeah.
And ZG is at Dr. Cossack's favorite robot master. I say so because he put a ring on it.
Oh,
My understanding, anyways.
yes. Yeah. So yeah, this is number 5 for Notorious. CG just finished off Ringman.
A nice finishes up Ringman. We're about halfway through Skullman here, and we should probably talk a little bit more about these balloons. They're really important to the Mega Man 4 run in terms of doing it fast. You can spawn it in the wall, and it will still exist in the game basically for about 12 to 24 frames, somewhere in that neighborhood. Somebody in chat might know off the top of their head. And you can jump off of it that way, but then it doesn't spawn, so it doesn't create as much lag. So it's one of the tricks that we use throughout the game. And it's the reason why we try to pick that up from Pharaoh Man stage early on, because it's a really useful item. It's like 10 or 12. I thought it was in that neighborhood.
So we're seeing a difference here in strats on Dustman stage. CG not using bright strats at all, is just playing this as intended. Nice job by Notorious there, finishing off Skullman.
Yeah, Skullman should be a scripted fight, but if it gets off script, it's very easy for Skullman to cause much unwanted pain. As ZG makes his way through this Crusher section, the ring's actually a really useful weapon for the Crusher section. In fact, ZG's got to be a little careful with how much he's using it here, because he's gonna start to run into danger of running out of ammo for the boss fight here. And Nate's starting here with starting in on Dive Man stage again, utilizing the flash stopper to just get away from a lot of this stuff, avoiding a lot of stuff and jumping around. So it looks like ZG's at the at Dustman here, and looks like he's already loaded up with a Mega Buster shot. So he probably recognized that he's a little low on ammo. Trying to deal some damage to Dustman before one short. Oh, this is dangerous. He's going to be able to charge here, luckily, so as soon as... With one health, ZG manages to survive there.
If you're not living dangerously, you're not trying. Wait, is that the mantra?
I was scared the whole time. But while that was happening, Nate has basically finished Dive Man stage and is making his way to the Dive Man boss fight. Which, Dive Man here will drill towards Nate, and Nate's just going to use the Skull Shield in close proximity to deal tons of damage to Drill Man and make short work of him.
Yeah. So, yeah, very good start, very good run so far through MN4 for Nate. He had said pre-game that this was his best game, so he's certainly proving it. He's been very efficient throughout. ZG, no slouch, he's played pretty well. Had a death in, was it Ringman, but has kept pace as best he can, but yeah, Notorious is widening his lead here.
Yeah, and I think I saw ZG pick up 2 1-ups back to back in the very beginning of this Skull stage here, which is really good because he was before that, I believe, at 0 during the fight.
I think,
just prior to this
so.
with Dust. Yeah, so it looks like he did pick up back to back 1-ups. Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty fortunate because he died also in Right Man. I think he took a death there. Bright or Pharaoh, I can't remember. He died in one of those stages.
Yeah, so that's in when you're dying to a checkpoint or to the beginning of the stage.
Oh, another one.
but a game over is pretty tough. So.
Well, he picked up another 1-up because the game I think is feeling sorry for him or something. I mean, my God.
my games are never this kind to me when I need a 1-up.
Yeah, like really, come on. That's where they all went?
Here Nate is in this room for Drill Man, and he's trying to slide as much as possible to try to keep these sections here with these, because there's chutes that drop rocks, and we don't see any of that because we use our flash stopper. It just completely ignores all that nonsense. And now we get to Drill Man, who will open this fight by diving. So yeah, it's my dive man who drills and drill man who dives. Perfect. And that is unfortunately what we get from Drill Man often is he's kind of random in this way. He'll go underground and there's no damage that you can do to him while he is in that animation or underground. So we just kind of hope that he stays above ground long enough for us to throw dive missiles at him.
Notorious finished him off, I think, just as he was about to do another dive. He actually got pretty good RNG there.
Yeah, ZG looks like he fell between one of those jumps and elected to take a brief pause and let his time stopper run out so he could sneak through the area a little cleaner. Seems to have worked out pretty well. And Nate's on to his last Robot Master Mega Man 4, looks like.
Yeah, looks like he's on pace for about a mid-21, 8 Robos here in MM4.
And this screen can be kind of scary as a with all of the movement that you have, and the rain is pushing against Mega Man, so your jumps aren't quite as good. So, and then this screen is also very scary and dangerous because all of this running water plays havoc with Mega Man's hitbox and can kind of like push him around by a handful of pixels, and it's really easy to get caught pushed off a ledge into your death when you're trying to slide. So, nice to see Nate get through there cleanly. And then here we pause. There's a big mid-boss there. We don't see that. We don't deal with it. We freeze him up in the air and jump into his hitbox, take damage, and slide away.
So ZG was getting a bit low on health. He uses his D-Tank to help himself power through the remaining part of this stage. Victorious had a little trouble there at the end of Toadman's stage. Gets through though, so ZG is ready for Dive Man at full health, and Victorious will take on his last Robot Master.
Have a Toadman who is not especially dangerous when you have both his weakness and you don't let him have respite. And so it was about 1707 for Notorious through Mega Man 4.
So he did that in 2045. Very good time.
That was pretty solid.
So now we're on to Mega Man 5. I said Mega Man 4 is kind of that game that doesn't do a lot for me, and I'm actually kind of more partial to 5 than I'd say most. I'd say it's the best of the back half of the Mega Man games for the NES.
See, this is where we can disagree, because I would argue the opposite. I would have 4 much higher. I think most of the I think most of the enemies and the boss power, the weapons in Mega Man 5 are mostly pointless, with the exception of the super arrow.
Yeah, and I agree that some of the bosses, their weapons are kind of whatever. I think just some of the other details, like the music, I think in this game is really strong.
It definitely has some good tracks. I think all of the games do though. So
sure.
There's a lot of good music in there, and five has some really interesting properties with how things work. It's the only game where all of the enemies have iframes, which is infuriating if you like to mash things, because you can't mash in Mega Man 5. If you're a good masher, it doesn't really help you a ton, at least not as much as it does in others.
So Notorious is a little low on health here.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Just dodging everything. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, the other thing Mega Man 5 is known for, we saw it already with Notorious, is lots of extra lives. Just hand them out like candy in this game.
Yeah, you should see a lot of 1-ups in Mega Man 5. The drop rate for them is a little higher than most of the other games. Technically, I believe it's the same as for 4, but we kill a lot fewer enemies in 4 on the speedrun than we do in 5, typically.
So Starman leads off here in MM5, and there will not be, I believe, any divergence. And the route has been pretty much been set since time immemorial with this game. Not getting a lot of help from Starman.
No, Starman is This is one of those weird stages with the way that this sequence ends here. We can do some damage. We can shoot through his shield, but then we have this jump section where Mega Man jumps up and collects his energy. How the fall rate that you get there can change. So.
He's got to be. ZG's got to be careful. He's really low on health.
Very scary sequence.
He's getting good at this. That's like the 5th boss he has slid past with like 5 health bars or lower.
So yeah, I was just gonna say, go ahead.
No, you carry on.
So we see Nate here. We get to see our first uses of the super arrow, which is really the primary mode of transportation in Mega Man 5. We use it to get around places very, very quickly. And we also see Gravity Man stage, which does not obey the law of gravity and flaunts it quite regularly. So.
Oh, sure it does. It just goes regular or inverted. It's. Not our traditional laws, but, the laws nonetheless.
And so Nate there is walking off the ledge a little bit. I see ZG just fell out here in Toad. Yeah, again, this is a really scary room. You can see the rain is falling. It is falling at a severe angle. There is strong wind. Mega Man is when he moves to the right, he's moving slower than he normally does. So it's really scary to go through these sections.
So with Gravity Man, this is a scripted fight, so long as you do it correctly.
And luckily, the shield, once you're down to the last hit, as long as you bump into him, he'll just disappear. So nice clear for Nate there against Gravity Man. As ZG skips a couple of skips the mid bosses here in Toad Man. So let's see, he's on the final approach here for Toad Man. He's gonna deal with these fish in some way or another. Looks like.
He's out of. Okay, so he got through. So Notorious on to Gyro Man. our real vertical stage, I suppose, of MM5.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of there's a handful of sort of semi-solid auto scrollers, and we see Nate walking off of the ladder, trying to walk off of the arrow. I'm sorry. And we do that because when you stand on the arrow and it moves, it takes energy. But if you're standing on the arrow and you're walking off it, it doesn't use it because technically you're off of it and it's picking you back up. So we try to do that to maximize the amount of ammo we have to ride it around.
So it's 1:23:12, I believe, for ZG. So he's about 6 minutes back right now.
Scary room here for Nate. There's these falling platforms. You stand on them too long, they fall out underneath your feet. So just a lot of movement there. That's pretty scary. Makes his way through.
Yeah, Gyro Man's got my favorite Robot Master music in the game. So there's something strangely catchy and upbeat about it. But,
definitely a toe tapper. Sitting here tapping my toes.
So, and ZG hits the deck with the spikes.
So that's this whole area with Starman can be kind of scary because you're dealing in a lower gravity situation, so you can jump a lot higher than you normally can. But you've got spikes all over the place, so it's really easy to go for like a short little jump and then find yourself bonking your head.
Notorious had no trouble with Gyro Man, a stage that Colonel Fatso called for the music aggressively cheerful, and actually that actually sounds very accurate. But the thing with fighting Gyro Man is you just don't with Gravity Hole. You just don't want to use it too fast because he still has his iframes, and if you go too fast, you might miss a shot, and then you actually have to fight the guy normally.
Yeah, it is a situation where it is best to respect the iframes. Show the iframes the respect they deserve, and don't waste your weapon energy.
So no crystal skip here for Notorious. I kind of didn't expect so.
Yeah, we'll see how Nate's gonna travel through this stage. I haven't seen his strats to get through here, but that's a nice way to handle some of these crystal falling sequences. These can be very scary. It's really easy to fall and get killed.
You almost did, yeah.
Exactly.
You got clocked there. So we got hit again. Like you are letting me through.
Not taking any chances, making sure that he's not at risk of taking any damage that he's not ready to take, because he's only got 4 HP, so a lot of things would actually take him out with one hit right now, so...
Yeah.
But luckily there's a free tank right here.
Well... So, CG underway in Gravity Man.
Ooh. Nate, almost tempting fate. You know, he picked up that E-tank. I might have used it there, but he's still moving along here and just dodging everything that's being thrown at him. So, you know,
I don't
confident runner.
Well, and I don't know if he's watching his opponent. I think he certainly can, but.
That's fair. If he doesn't know the status of the run, or if he does, it could impact the decisions he makes for his run.
Yeah, he might. But no, he's doing a little living on the edge there, and dispatches Crystal Man pretty easily. So about a 2-stage difference right now between our rest. 2 stages and a little bit of change. We're halfway through MM5 as we now head to Napalm Man, the boss that got this game banned in the country.
So this opening is neat, and it really shows the power of Mega Man 5's Mega Buster. The hitbox for Mega Man 5's fully charged Buster is enormous. It is super huge. It charges quite quickly, and the only real downside to it is it doesn't charge when you're sliding. So that's one major downside. But otherwise it's a really great Rockbuster power up.
They definitely they really broke this weapon. Oh, and Notorious takes a death there. Ooh, that's unfortunate. But it's basically it's OP. It really is in this game. Compared to 4 and 6, it's really powerful. But that's Notorious's first death in a while. I mean, since MM2 maybe?
Yeah, it's been a little while, and it's an unfortunate one because the location is such that it's like I think literally 1 or 2 screens from a checkpoint. Yeah.
So yeah, that's not great. CG having a little trouble. He's not using arrow strats here in Gyro Man stage.
Nate is very, very good at just jumping around and just barely missing things, sort of Neo in the Matrixing his way around enemies and projectiles sometimes.
Yeah, both runners have had their Neo moments tonight for sure. ZG's had some very good ones in MM2, so it's nice to see them, really putting their platforming skills to good use here.
Get to see some of the gravity weapon, which is pretty powerful when you use it appropriately. It can wipe out enemies all over the screen and just send them into the sky, which is pretty neat.
Oh, CG almost took a death there. That would have been really bad.
Nate taking this section nice and safe, nice and easy, right before he gets to...
Yeah, he burned all of his gravity hold ammo, so like, okay, just gotta play this kind of tight. So, Napalm Man, pretty easy fight. Just get inside his grenades, and you're usually okay. CG kind of low on health here. He's gotta be careful. Okay, well, a nice health pickup there at the end there for ZG. So.
Yeah, so ZG gets the nice little health pickup, and again, just respect the iframes, but Gravity Hold is a full screen weapon, and the boss can't leave the screen, so just time him, and there you go.
Yeah, and now we're on to Stone Man, the 6th of 8. We just have we have Charge Man and
Wave Man.
Wave Man, that's right.
Yeah, so Stone Man's actually one of the, at least I think it's one of the longer stages in Mega Man 5.
I think so. And Charge Man's pretty long too.
Yeah, Wave is especially long. There is an auto scroller section there.
Mm-hmm.
See how Nate elects to get through this section here. He looks like he's conserved a little bit of his ammo. He's trying to kill Squeaks, but doesn't look like he quite made it. A little low on ammunition here, so I'm not sure what his normal strat is here. If he had more ammo, you'd go up to the top of the screen and fly across it, but I think he's using the M-Tank here. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So here we have Rush Jet out, but we need to be killing some enemies. So we got to double tap B to summon Rush and then to send in to fire some lemons.
Yeah.
It looks like ZG's making his way through Crystal as well, also not opting for the Crystal skip.
No. Being there two of the lower seeds, I didn't quite expect that would be they would be utilizing it, but no, they're still playing these stages pretty effectively.
Yeah, so we see Nate getting to Stone Man, who is weak to napalm. And we want Happy Stone. We want him just kind of jumping around and not falling to pieces. And he only fell to pieces, I think, twice there, so that's not too bad for Nate. A relatively happy Stone. You could say he was a pleased Stone, perhaps. And ZG's getting into Gyro Man here with about third health here, so we'll see how he opts to handle this fight.
Well, he's got an E-tank if he needs it, so against Crystal Man. So, no problem.
Nice and clean.
Yep, on to Charge Man now for Notorious. Wave Man after this.
I've got his arrow. Should be good placement. Just rides his arrow across the top of this train. This is not a scene from the new Mission Impossible. This is totally different. Not flying to land in the train. We have a chicken room here, where these chickens dispense some eggs and a lot of mouses.
Yeah, I think they're saving that train sequence for Mega Man 12.
See a letter we're not going to bother to pick up, and we're hoping. We're hoping for we were hoping for a drop from one of these guys to give us a some arrow energy, but got it a little too late, and Nate either doesn't think it's worth it or didn't quite notice, so he's just gonna finish this out without the arrow.
Yeah, he just kind of got like boxed in there. He was like, it was too close, so he was just like, okay, just pick him up. But a fortuitous health pickup there, because Charge Man can be really aggravating as a fight, even if you know how it's done. Like, this guy can just... The stone is not the easiest weapon to get to work with.
No, stone is unfortunately it kind of emanates out from Mega Man in a sort of expanding pattern, and it takes a while to get off screen, so you can't fire it again. It's a really not great weapon.
No.
But but a reminder that it isn't the worst weapon in Mega Man 5. Because Water Wave exists, yes. I can't say it. Water Wave, I think, gets one use in the entire run. I think if you're fighting one of the Dark Robot, or not Dark Robots,
it's like
Dark Robots.
The second one, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The tank-treaded fellow.
Yeah.
But luckily, this run, we don't even see that. But we will see some of Charge Kick, which is the weapon we just picked up, which is, I think, also kind of a questionable weapon.
Yeah.
Certainly against the boss, it's chosen against here.
Charge Kick is like, this is what Mega Man would have... Is his... the leftover weapon they didn't really get to use in Mega Man Soccer.
It's a very good slide tackle. I think that the bigger issue with the charge kick isn't so much the weapon, which can let you like slide through a lot of cool things. The it's that this boss is an unfortunate boss to have to fight with it. Nate opting to take an E-Tank, and he's not going to do a scary jump there. You can skip the animation to jump into this little Sea-Doo looking thing, this little vehicle here, but Nate elects not to do that. If you screw it up, you can actually soft lock, so if you're not confident doing it, probably should avoid it. Oh, and I think ZG just took a fall into a pit, unfortunately, in Stoneman, which is again one of the longer stages, and he'd gotten a little bit of the ways through. So I think he was getting pretty close to the checkpoint room. In fact, so that's a pretty punishing place to take a fall.
Yeah.
Almost same spot again, giving ZG trouble, but it makes it through. Yeah, here this is the big time savings if you can skip the vehicle, is that you can eliminate lag and then not have to do that little walking section when you get out of the vehicle.
The last fight for Notorious here in Mega Man 5. There it is. So 140.21. So it says PB is at 207.50. So
I'd say he's on PB pace.
I'd say so too. MM6 should take about 20 minutes if done well.
Yep, and looks like we're starting with Windman, which is the typical starting boss here. And this game has some slightly different mechanics in regards to the movement than the previous Mega Man games with slides. This game, you cannot just simply jump out of a slide. You have to cancel it in some form or fashion. You can do that by pressing A, which will cancel the slide, then you hit A again to jump, or you can cancel it by pulling back on the opposite direction on the D-pad that you're traveling.
Yeah. So, and ZG actually picked up an extra E-Tank, so that could come in handy for him in the last two plus stages. Oh, and Notorious hits the deck, but luckily did it in the right spot.
Yeah, as far as places where you could fall into a pit, that is one of 3 or 4 that is about the best place in this entire run to take. It literally costs you about 7 seconds. It really is not a punishing loss there.
Yeah, and chat was saying Notorious is like 3 minutes ahead of his PB pace right now, so yeah, he's in good shape.
Yeah, I feel like that death is so not punishing. I might have had a PB with a death in of that in there once or twice in my life. So
there you go. So yeah, Windman, the fight isn't very difficult, but the stage can certainly give you some fits.
So let's see here. We're gonna deal with Windman. He has 2 attacks really. He can throw some blades at you, or he can stand in place and pull you towards him. We can try to do our charges for the Mega Buster and hit him with those as best we can. In Mega Man 6, your Buster Charge is slightly faster when you're sliding, which is in direct opposite of Mega Man 5, which when you're sliding, it doesn't charge at all.
Yeah.
And so we try to take advantage of that and deal the damage with the Buster as fast as we can.
Yeah. So, no problem, though, for Notorious fighting a Discount Airman. So on to Flame Man. CG, just holding back a little bit there.
And deciding to just take a step back and kill the enemies that he wasn't sure he'd be able to climb past. As Nate's making his way through the second stage Flame Man in Mega Man 6 here, which we'll see how he interacts with these. This stage is especially troublesome at times. You see these enemies that have fallen on. There's this kind of like purplish black goo at the bottom there. That's oil, and we don't want any of these flame enemies to drop flames into it because it'll catch on fire. And it goes from being a mild annoyance for Mega Man, where it doesn't let him jump very high or slide very fast or far, to being spikes.
Yeah,
and
it's
one-hit kill instantly. So we try to avoid that.
Yeah, it's usually manageable though, and this last section that Notorious is in is really the only spot where you're really in danger. But Notorious helps himself to that E-tank. Good idea.
Yes, one of the other dangers that you face with these is that when you have the transition from oil to flame, the game can eat your input. There's lag that's caused there, so that screen, that last area there, especially that Nate just traversed, is especially dangerous for that. So it's making good time here.
Yeah, so 1 to go for ZG in MM5. I actually had a really good Charge Man fight. Was getting the stone attack going very nicely against him. So this last auto scroll stage, basically, and Notorious just finished off Flame Man.
And ZG's making his way into this little bubble area that is pretty close to the end of Mega Man 5 here. There's a faster way to kind of do this with arrows, but it's a little tighter. And if you're not comfortable with it, the time savings is not especially great, especially for a run this long. So looks like ZG's electing to just do it the standard way here.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're at the Blizzard Man, the third of 8, so we're getting down to the end here. This is number 40.
Yep, we have some ice physics now, which always make for a fun time for Mega Man.
This is actually 41, excuse me. 40 was Flame Man. So we've gone through 40 Robot Masters. Where does the time go?
Nate's using Flame here to take care of those robot curling stones. I believe that's what those are.
Yeah, and it's actually like Flame Man's weapon is probably the most spammable weapon in the game.
Absolutely. The flame weapon does 3 damage to any enemy that it damages. So it's basically as strong as a it's as strong as a fully charged Buster Shot. So it looks like that. It looks like Nate jumped there, and I can't tell if that was a situation where, and this is something that Mega Man can do in Mega Man 6, is that you can jump on a ledge on the left, and it will just sort of eject Mega Man you'll have his toe on the right, and he should be safe, but the game will just kick him off the ledge to the left.
I thought it was a missed jump there. I thought he just might have been a little off on his jump. I don't know if it was the game in that case.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if because the way that submarine moves up and down, it can create it can create a place where you miss the jump because it's just not the right not the right height. And ZG looks like he's opting to fight Waveman with Buster here, and really nice movement. Honestly, getting around these attacks and
and got it. Nice.
Yeah, very nice.
So 148.32, so 8+ minutes back as we head to the finale for ZG. He's 3 stages back now. Notorious finishing off Blizzard Man.
And so ZG's opening up here with Mega Man 6, and he's starting with Windman. Again, it's the most common route. Windman is first. He's a relatively simple boss and simple stage to complete with just the Buster, and you really are trying to get to Flame Man because Flame Man has, as you said, the most spammable weapon. It's really powerful. It does a lot of damage.
Yeah. Come to Plant Man, which is probably the most aggravating stage in this game. Just for that final section is
Yeah, the final section here is tough.
It's Windman on steroids.
This is a very dangerous stage. There are a lot of pits that you can fall into.
And CG hits the ceiling. So Chad's asking, what's our favorite classic Mega games?
For me, it's 4 or 6. 6 probably for the speedrun because I think it's my favorite speedrun of the 6. But 4 is my favorite casually. Always has been. All the stuff that the games have. You got the charge shot. You got the slide. I like the weapons. So that was probably there for me.
Yeah, for me it's 3 with 2 very, very close behind. Yeah, those 2 among the NES games stand out the most for me overall.
Nate showing off just a brief second of the platforms here. These platforms are intended to be shot to be opened. However, you can stand on them for a handful of frames, and you can jump across them without opening. But it's very, very scary and dangerous if you're not practiced at it. And so Nate did it on a safe one where you kind of just land and walk off, and it doesn't cause you any harm.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and Notorious is through, and I'm sure he's breathing a sigh of relief. Because,
Alright, so we get the Plant Man, who is our requisite enemy who has a shield as their power. And this is one of the things I always talk about with Mega Man 6 that I think is cool, is that, the game sort of makes sense in terms of who's weak to what, at least for a little bit, for a while.
Yeah.
Plant is weak to Blizzard, Flame is weak to Wind, Blizzard weak to Flame, that's cool that the first half of the game makes sense.
Yeah, the elemental angle certainly makes sense, but yeah, the other 4, which this game is really kind of playing on that sort of nationalism angle with its 8 bosses. Then it starts to get a little fuzzy after that point with Tomahawk, Yamato, Knight, and Centaur.
Yeah, so the basic premise behind this game's Robot Masters is there's a tournament, and all of the world sends their most powerful battle robots, and then then a new bad guy who is not Dr. Wily takes all of them over, and then Mega Man has to fight them all. So, yeah, the elemental robots and then the warrior robots.
It was so good that the developers after Mega Man 3, they decided like, that's enough of that Dr. Wily guy. We had Dr. Cossack in 4 and Proto Man in 5. Now we got Mr. X and in 6, and ZG unfortunately takes a dip in the lava there.
Yeah, and that's also unfortunate because that won't reset between deaths. When he gets back to that area here on this life, it's actually going to be it's going to still be on fire here. And I just want to point out the awesome background in Tomahawk stage on Nate's screen,
Yeah.
the shimmering sun, one of the coolest screens in all of the NES, I think. Just really cool really looking background.
It's definitely, a sign of how far the NES had come at that point, and they were still 5 and 6 in particular, some terrific backgrounds. They have a lot going on with them.
Oh, absolutely. The last two games in this run are very, very pretty games on the NES. I think there's a lot of attention to detail. They really push the little console to its limits on both of these, I think.
Oh, for sure. Oh, and ZG again with the death. I think that's game over for him. Oh no, he's still got one. I think this is his last chance,
Yeah, so this is getting to be a little dangerous for ZG here, but
yeah. Well, there was an indication going in that 6 was not a game ZG was all that familiar or comfortable with. So so far, yeah, it has been an uneasy start for him. Especially given he was fairly clean in 3, 4, and 5. He had a really rough start to 2, but while not as fast as Notorious, he played 3 to 5 fairly cleanly.
and now, unfortunately, like I said, with the oil catching on fire, now it's just fire, unless there's a game over. So it slows down that whole section because you can't slide through the oil any longer, which is still slightly faster than walking and jumping.
Yeah, 3 to go now. Yamato Man next.
And we have these bears that are firing out some random, just sort of like dodgeballs, I guess, coming at Mega Man. So that screen can definitely take you out more surprisingly than you'd think, because you'll be in a jump and one of those will fire one of those and knock you out. But make it through this nice little dragonfly section. Oh no!
Yep, that's it. Yeah, that was, I think, on 4, so you just hit the wrong button at the wrong time. Like, oh no.
Yeah, so Nate switches here to rush to the jetpack, which is in Mega Man 6 you don't get Rush Coil or Rush Jet or Rush Marine or anything like that. You get these two adapters. You get a Rush adapter, and this is the Jet adapter. It is a constantly refilling ability to sort of hover briefly and gain extra air. It's a neat little conceit on the basic idea of Rush being an ally robot for Mega Man, so it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's more like it's like an add-on, to the existing frame, rather than something else altogether. So it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, and it lets us go to different places on the map. Mega Man 6 has a handful of secondary exits that exist. For this run, we likely won't do any more than just one, which is this one, Yamato Man's. It's actually faster to do this route than it is to do the intended route or the normal route. This is the secondary exit when we use the jet adapter. So ZG's dealing with, unfortunately, a lot of flame that is actually that is effectively spikes. So that's all very, very dangerous platforming there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a rough go for ZG here in Flame Man. He's finally reached the boss, as Notorious is entering Nightman stage, which is a pretty short stage overall. It's got a precarious beginning, but the rest of it should be okay. Looks like he's going to play it safe with the spikes.
Just gonna take damage here and slide through all of this and not get crushed by the spikes. That's perfectly safe way to handle that. Better to get through there and not die and deal with the rest of the stage otherwise, for sure.
Yeah, and ZG got himself into a little bit of a bind there with Flame Man, but is able to pull through and close that out. So that's 2 down for him with 6 more to go. Notorious, again, only about a stage and a half away from finishing. Chat saying he's on pace to beat his PB by about 4 minutes right now, which is very impressive. We said going in, we thought a PB or 2 might be possible, as these are 2 of the higher seeds in the tournament. So they have the most to improve upon, and they're certainly displaying their skills very nicely here. I'd say Notorious is in range, I'd say, to get a pretty good shot at a sub-2 pretty soon. You know, fewer deaths, really. I mean, he had a couple of deaths. He's had a couple of deaths in 6, then he had a couple of deaths in 5, but has still managed to stay ahead of the curve.
ZG having a little trouble with the opening in Blizzard Man stage there. That is a... You know, the ice physics and everything else, it can be a scary room. And we see, looks like he's going to elect to nab this E-tank here. Doesn't cost you much time, so it's a pretty smart thing to grab if you're worried about your health situation.
Well, he should be, because he's just down to 1 health, so... And, okay, he does use one of his 2 E-tanks as a refill, so that's good. So Notorious, 7 down, 1 to go. This is it, the 46th and final Robot Master in this run is Centaur Man, and it's definitely one of the more interesting and I'd say original of the Robot Masters in the series, and that's, I think, for me, the best song of the Robot Masters in the game.
It's yeah, he's half man, half centaur, or something like that, I think is the basic. And this is the first game that did the little blurbs that said, like, you know, something about them, like master of mace ball or something like that, and I think this one says like power unknown or something along those lines, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And so it looks like Nate's working his way through here, holding on to that onto the night attack here. A lot of people will switch to the night ball to get through this underwater section, because you can aim it in multiple directions. It's really useful. Nate's opting to save the ammo though, and he'll probably switch to it a little later. Looks like ZG is well on his way to dealing with Blizzard Man.
A little low on, okay, it was a little low on ammo there, but he had enough to close it out, so nicely done. So that's 3 down for him.
And here he's gonna now we see the Night Crusher. That makes sense. And use this for the back half of the Centaur Man stage. These floating cloud submarine things, when you are at the same X coordinate as they are, they'll drop out of the sky. So if you jump high enough above them, they'll harmlessly fall into the water below you. Which Nate used that to some effect there at the end. All
right, so last fight for Notorious in this run. this is not a particularly difficult fight. Centaur Man doesn't have a lot to scare.
Yeah, the bigger worry here is getting caught in one of these where you'll just lose time because Centaur Man can stop time. That's his power. But
he missed the kill shot, and there it is, finishing at. Finishes with an official race time of 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 25 seconds.
That is I believe that is a PB.
Oh yeah, it's by over 4 minutes. Yeah, his PB going in was 2:07:50, and sailed right through that one. And again, if you take the deaths out, it's probably sub 2. So no,
yeah, that's
a terrific run.
Impressive run for sure.
And even ZG has a shot at a PB here, because his PB, according to what he told me pre-race, is 2:24:46, and he's on his 4th Robot Master right now. If he can get through this stage clean, I think he's got a pretty good shot at it.
Well, absolutely.
Whoops. I jinxed it, didn't I?
I was actually going to say, I think that was one of those clips I'd mentioned earlier. It looked like he'd done a really, that's the perfect length jump. That's as small as you can take it, but unfortunately the game declined his jump. So
the game is very rude.
And unfortunately, the real damage to that is just ammo loss. Really, is the biggest annoyance about that, because you have to fight this gorilla again, which takes a fair amount of ammunition. But he'll make his way through here, and this can be a scary area as well. There's a lot of these turrets. There's springs. You're dealing with a bunch of pits that just immediately you'll fall to your death. And then these platforms. I thought for a moment he was considering doing some platforms, some handful of frame jumps, but elected not to. And so again, this is just a section where if you even if you're very practiced here, it is really easy. Where if you're not on your rhythm, you basically have to take this incredibly safely and be careful, because once you're off your rhythm, you don't know when the turrets are going to shoot, you don't know when the fish are going to jump, and any mistake will put you in the drink. So ZG is playing this smartly. He's not taking any unnecessary risks for sure. And now we get some Plant Man fight here.
Taking a few hits here early. He's got an E-tank, so yep.
Yeah, I would say that's a place to use it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to have to fight Plant Man again. He's one of the slower bosses in the game, especially if you can't manipulate him into an easier pattern. So it looks like he didn't end up needing the E-tank after all, but you know what? I think it was worth using it for just the peace of mind, even. Okay, so looks like where ZG's moving into Tomahawk Man here, which opens with a handful of these cowboy enemies with little pistols. Their name is Colton. It's one of my favorite enemies in all of Mega Man. These little pistol-toting robots named Colton. And ZG's bustering his way through before he switches back to the Flame Blast, which again does significant damage, 4 damage. I said 3 earlier. I lied. I undersold it. It's so much better than that. It is, in fact, 33% better than what I said. And so again, this is mostly just taking advantage of the fact that Flame does a lot of damage, and most of the enemies don't have a ton of health. There's no iframes for any of the enemies except for the bosses, so most enemies will die in 1 or 2 shots, so it makes it not trivial, but a lot easier to get through certain areas.
Yeah. Well, like every Mega Man game has that one weapon where it's like, yep, we're just gonna use you the rest of the way. It's like, really, like I think every single one has that weapon. I think it's just it's not exactly an easy button, but it does make large sections of the game pretty easy.
Oh, absolutely! It makes certainly platform and a lot easier when you don't have to worry about every single like trying to mash through every single enemy instead of having to hit B 3 times only once is a lot easier.
Yeah, we got let's see, after this will be 3 to go. Okay. Ooh. Nice job by ZG there. Yeah, with Plant against Tomahawk, it's basically like it's ammo for ammo. So if you miss, you got to fight him with your Buster, and doable, but you really don't wanna.
Yeah, and Tomahawk does a fair amount of damage. The Silver Tomahawk, as it's called, does a lot of damage when he fires it. So you can get into a really dangerous situation quite quickly. And so now we get to Yamato Man again. This is Master of Spear, it says at the bottom there.
Yeah. And some of the bosses, oh, poor ZG, that was just bad luck. Some of the bosses Yamato Man, I think, is first among them, is have peculiar weapons.
Yeah. Yamato Man has his weapon is the Yamato Spear, and it has some weird properties about how it moves, and not so much weird properties and how it moves, but weird properties for other enemies and how they interact with it for sure.
Right.
It also like travels a little up or down depending upon whether you're shooting an even or an odd shot. So the Yamato Spear definitely has a handful of weird things about it.
Yeah, and just the way he uses it, like he shoots it at you and then he runs to go pick it up and then shoots it at you again. It's like it's one of the stranger fights I've seen. It definitely makes it stand out, but the weapon itself is like kind of wimpy, isn't it?
See, ZG's making his way up here with the jet adapter again, as we saw. Oof. Luckily, that's not super bad. That's literally, just a screen away. So that's not super.
Yeah,
that's not the worst place in the world.
This is his last life, though, so he has to be very careful.
Yes, definitely needs to be careful here for the rest of this stage. Again, Mega Man 6, I think ZG had said it was one that was not his best. So this is, it's not all of these games can be incredibly unforgiving, especially as speedruns when you're trying to complete them quickly. Like they really don't want you to do that. So.
Yeah. All right, so. But this should be an okay fight for ZG. Shouldn't have any trouble.
Yeah. So this is Yamato Man, and ZG has the Silver Tomahawk equipped. We call it the Silver Tomahawk because it's bronze, as you can see. Not just how we do things, And There you go. Not too bad by ZG. Didn't run into too much trouble there, and dispatched him on pretty quickly.
Yeah, Yamato Man's definitely one of the easier fights. So, well, we kind of got a slight break in the action. There are several other matches on the docket for the next few days. We have a triple header tomorrow. We have at 3 p.m. Eastern, Shadow versus Kame. At 8 p.m. Eastern, my co-com, Mad Mega, will take on Mr. Cab. And immediately following that, we will have Papatot and Sage Hero. So that's at 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you like this match tonight and you've never seen it before, you're in for a treat. Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, we have Asnael and Palpy Blade, and then Saturday is Mellow Flows versus Kaiser Krister. So, this is... we have 18 players in this tournament, and the winner, Notorious, will go on to take on the 2 seed of this tournament, Becco. And Becco, that's going to be interesting to see how he does in this tournament. His reputation certainly precedes him. I know he's been doing a lot of 2 and 3 lately.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of really talented runners all over the entry card, and really this is I kind of feel like this is a game or a run where you could see some upsets.
Sure.
It's a little longer, but there are plenty of things that can happen in these games that are really, really punishing, and keeping a clean sheet through all 6 games is really tough. So
with everybody having their own specialties, that's going to keep it interesting because, especially if you have like a specialty early or late, if you have a really good start or you don't have a really good start, that can really have a kind of cloud the rest of the game. It's really going to be kind of an interesting sort of test to see, how that plays out.
Oh, for sure, and depending upon where people are weakest or strongest, and that and it can color the race because somebody knows that okay, yeah, I'm not great at Mega Man 1, but they are, so I'm going to lose a lot of time there, and that's a worry. But it's like, but on the flip side, if you're good at Mega Man 1 and you know that the other person isn't especially good at it, you're like, well, I gotta get a lead here. I need that time, so they're pushing. So there's so many things at play in these races. It's definitely one of my favorite tournaments like this because, like I said, I think there's a lot of opportunity here for churn, maybe more than you'd see in some other tournaments.
Exactly, and on top of that, the 6 games look the same. They look similar, but as we've seen, they all have very different behaviors and characteristics. One is it's barely related to 6, at least in the way that Mega Man moves. So, that makes it very enticing in that respect.
Oh, for sure. I mean, these games all look similar for sure. But I would say that no two play identical for sure, and there are quite a few that play dramatically differently. So it's a lot of fun to see like where those strengths come out and
and certainly from that time capsule kind of aspect, we're seeing the series evolve, and we're seeing how it did change in a span of 6-7 years. So it's quite an interesting run from not only a gameplay standpoint, but also from a gaming history kind of standpoint, because Mega Man's certainly been one of the most prolific, and this series had more games on the NES than any other franchise. And as we said, it all looks the same, but they sure don't feel the same.
Yeah, exactly. Like Mega Man doesn't look super different, but the games sure are. So it definitely is a lot of fun, and we get we get a flavor of each of them. Like I said, the full 6-game run is a good deal longer. It's the castle stages are really difficult in a lot of these games, or the Dock Robot stages in Mega Man 3 maybe.
Yeah.
But this, you get a flavor of each of the games. You get to see them. You get to hear some of the music from each of the games, which is some of the best parts. And you get to see most of the weapons. Like it's a good taste of the original NES Mega Man experience. All the games right in a row in kind of a digestible format.
Right. Yeah. I've seen players do the full 6, and that's like a 3+ hour run, and it really, because those Wily stages are much longer, it does kind of take a lot out of you. But we come to the end now with ZG, well on his way to a sub 220, so he'll get his PB by about 5 minutes or so, with a good fight against Centaur Man.
Yeah, so he's gonna hopefully not deal with too many teleports here, or time stops, but
yeah. Ooh, that's 2.
Yeah, he's a little late on some of those shots, it seems, and there's time.
It. So finishing with an official, well, he hasn't clocked in on the race time, but 2:19:14. So GG's to ZG. So double PB.
Yeah, pretty significant PBs for both of our runners too, I think.
All right, so 2:19:14 for ZG, and 2:03 2021 for Notorious. So very nice. Double PB. Sub 2:05 for Nate and sub 2:20 for ZG. So that's great. You'll love to see it. So give our runners a follow here. Some great actions, some great growth as runners tonight. Doing it in a race setting, no less.
Yeah, the gotta be a tough to live up to this. I mean, that was the opening match of the tournament, and double PBs. Pretty exciting race. A lot of good stuff going on there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's great, and I hope, I'm sure, a good omen for what will be a great tournament going forward between the other competitors. As Notorious will move on to a round of 16. We'll take on Becco sometime next week, I imagine. So and again, we have a triple header starting at 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Channel is TBD, but we have so many other tournaments happening or just getting started here as we get ready for SG Live 2023 underway here. I think there's got to be like 20 tournaments or something, and then of course those are happening online. And then we have the live event in Virginia near Dulles in November, which will be a lot of fun. So so again, give our runners a follow, Notorious and ZG. Great play from both of them, and give Mad Mega and myself, Pro 8007, a follow as well. Be some great action coming up in the next few days. So thanks all for watching. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Be sure to look for the next races coming up tomorrow and the rest of the week, and hope to see you later.
All right, have a good one.